Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing better and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Rostermania. Dashy has responded to rumours that he has been dropped from the OpTic Texas team. It seems all but confirmed at the moment. But also, we do have one full roster from the Los Angeles Guerrillas side, one rumoured team they might well be forming, but that may already have changed with Dashy iLLeY now becoming available for them to potentially sign as well. Very much into your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. We get like 300 plus subs yesterday. Love to see it. Let's do it again today. Road to 90k, baby. Let's keep on going. Now, plenty to dive into today. Firstly, here from Beans. I wonder if anything is going on in the Boston camp right now. Got to mention as well, these view numbers completely throw me off right now. So yeah, just get used to this, I guess, with retweets, quote tweets, and then likes on the right-hand side. And this is tweet views. So I don't know, kind of mind-blowing, but we move, I suppose. So yeah, Beans says how quickly your life can change in COD. So whether Beans has been picked up to the starting team, because look, at the end of the day, we're talking about a potential 5-team Rostermania. I don't really know who the 5th team is right now. We know that London, we know that LAG, we know that OpTic, of course, and potentially Seattle with the Pred move, but there's maybe one other team in consideration. We'll discuss who that might be here in a second. Could be Boston, right? Maybe they bring Beans in for Awakening or something. I'm not exactly sure. That makes too much sense, but it's a possibility. Now, this is the Los Angeles Guerrillas drama. From Spart, he says yesterday, any Challengers teammates floating around, practically confirming he's gone from the starting LAG team and he's back to the bench. Now, he's on a 3-year contract, we believe, with Los Angeles Guerrillas. Now, contracts don't mean all that much in general. Like, okay, it might be a 3-year deal. There might be a way for the team to void it. Obviously, buyouts can be a thing. So the fact that the length of the contract is what it is doesn't necessarily mean all that much. But nonetheless, he's a good bench player and he's probably going to be back on the bench. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Parasite was noting is that, okay, well, if he's in the Challenger side again, that would presumably mean that he's dropped down to their Academy roster. But if he's on their Academy team, why would he be looking for teammates? Surely the players that have dropped down from the starting team to Challengers are now in perfect position to be on their Academy roster, and he wouldn't need to find teammates. So what's the case here? Neptune also practically confirming that something's going on there, as he says, you know, when times get tough, you just got to work hard. I'm pretty sure he did another tweet as well saying he's got to dig himself out of this hole. So, you know, it seems like Neptune has been dropped, Spart has been dropped as well, and it's an overwhelmingly likely possibility as it stands. But as Parasite pointed out, if Spart has been dropped from the Los Angeles Guerrillas starting team, and he's not now on the Academy, then, you know, what's going on there, right? Is the Academy just in absolute shambles? Are they looking for many new players? Just because, obviously, we know that Arcitys is probably gone to OpTic if that deal goes through, and if that is the case, they are going to be missing pieces to form an entire 4-man starting team and a 4-man Academy team as well. Now, this is where this story comes along with the Los Angeles Guerrillas rumoured roster. Assault, DiamondCon, and Joe Thieves, all from their Academy team, apparently stepping up to the starting roster. Assault, you'd imagine, in place of Arcitys if he goes the way of the OpTic Texas team. MVP and World Champion winner from 2018, or Evil Geniuses, of course. DiamondCon, right, you guys might remember him from the Subliners in the Cold War season, and then Joe Thieves, new talented young player coming in, with Huke rounding out the team, getting to stay on the roster, with everyone else getting dropped or traded to another direction. So there was some talk actually about the fact that Exceed, arguably to me the most impressive player on the LAG Academy, doesn't get a spot on the starting team in this instance, despite the fact that I would say he probably deserves it. Now, yes, he's not quite the unknown quantity that Joe Thieves is, but you know, still, I would have liked to see that personally. Thought he deserved his shot, let's say, Exceed on the starting team, but doesn't seem like he's going to get it. Now, this probably is not going to be the team of 4. That was the rumour yesterday. Does not mean at all that that's actually going to be happening, though, especially now that DiamondCon may no longer be here on the starting team, and there might be a replacement for DiamondCon that's come through. So Challengers Intel actually also confirms, yeah, Exceed getting screwed again. This is the team that he'd heard as well. But shortly after that, we get this that comes out from DiamondCon, where he replies to Spart's tweet that says any teammates floating around, and DiamondCon says, hey, I'm available. So, you know, what does this mean? Because if DiamondCon was on the starting LAG team, he wouldn't be saying, hey, Spart, what's good? Let's team up in Challengers. So my theory is about this, that if DiamondCon was meant to be on the starting team and is now not, then maybe another player in that flex role, in the role that Spart was in the role that DiamondCon was in, and now where potentially iLLeY could be, is maybe coming to fruition. iLLeY and Huke teaming up again, that could be a possibility there. Like, I wouldn't rule that out at all as it stands. And maybe DiamondCon was told, yep, you're going to be in the starting team, and then iLLeY became available, and they thought, you know what, let's get iLLeY instead. Because this is the issue that OpTic have to deal with. They're trying to make these changes, but actually making them happen is not so easy, right? They've got to get Arcitys, there's going to be a buyout involved there. They're trying to get Pred, there's going to be a buyout involved there. So they might need to, and understandably quite well could, trade some players in other directions to sweeten the deal deal to a certain extent. Now, getting Arcitys is not going to be cheap, but if they can send iLLeY the other way, they might be able to, you know, negotiate in a better way. And a player like iLLeY, a player like Dashy could well be good targets for a team like LAG. iLLeY, I think, most certainly, given the Huke history that's there as well. So that makes a lot of sense to me, and that's, you know, what I imagine will be the case as it stands. But as I say, all things can change very quickly. Now, the Dashy side is another story, though. Dashy was getting roasted the other day, actually, for his kind of signature here on the solo ink, and I mean, yeah, this quote I thought was pretty funny. But, you know, look, Dashy is going to be moving on to a new pastures as well. We believe that Arcitys is going to be replacing him. It seems almost guaranteed at this point. If OpTic decide at this point to run it back regardless, like, I don't know who's making the calls in that camp, because it would be a terrible decision, and they would, I'm sure, blow it after Major 2 anyway, if some of this stuff falls through. But Dashy was on stream last night. Arcitys has been trolling and joking around about what's happening from his perspective. But, yeah, Dashy was pretty much confirming that indeed he has gone from the roster, and what his next step might be is very interesting to me, because there's a few options, there's not that many options, and this is why OpTic have put these guys in a bit of a difficult spot here, Dashy and iLLeY, by, you know, dropping them now. Just because if they made the change in the summer, they would have had, what, 8, 9 teams they could have gone to, probably no issues, and now at the start of the season, their stock has now dropped even a bit further. Now, look, for a player like Dashy, he's going to get offers, there's no doubt about it, and there's an argument that says once Dashy's dropped, then he'll become this really fired up individual that OpTic would hoped he was going to be all along. But still, there's only a few options now for Dashy, right? There's only a few options for iLLeY. There might be a very limited amount of options at that, because they're dropping them now rather than earlier on. But Dashy was on stream, he turned it on for wages, kind of surprising to me. And look, Scump on stream the last few days, he's not denied any of the rumours here, and Dashy says a few things that pretty much imply that indeed he's gone. He says that, look, he's not chalking up the season, he needs to get back in action, and that need, to me, not just the wants to get back to playing, but needs to get back to playing, says to me that he's coming on that revenge tour. He wants that revenge, he wants to knock OpTic out of champs or whatever the case might be. We know full well that sometimes when players get dropped from OpTic, the results for OpTic aren't so good. You know, they either win champs or they win events, and this has happened for the last several players, and even coaches in Cinder's case, that at least so far have been dropped over the last couple of years. Maybe Dashy's hoping for something similar, so he says he needs to keep playing, and also goes on to say that basically, you know, it's done and dusted, he's jobless is what he says later on as well, kind of implying that, yeah, he's gone from this team now.
File streams incoming? Nah. We're still gaming, bro. We're still gaming COD, boys. We're not chalking the year, you know what I mean? Because I need to play again, just put it like that. Shit, is it really a shocker though? Like, let's be honest, like... If you guys hear any quote-unquote intel, like, is it really a shocker? Like, I don't know.
That was crazy.
What's my game chat, bro?
Last week out here robbing me from two bones.
Oh wait, hold on. What's my talk, bro?
Man, I needed that too. Zed, put Shotzzy Zed.
Yeah, my bad, boys. GG's. I need it, like... It'd be like that, yo. You know what I mean? I'm jobless right now.
I can't let you can hear.
Said I'm jobless.
So what is Dashy's next step? And I do feel, you know, it's an interesting situation with Dashy, because everyone has said for quite some time, and look, it's been 4 years that Dashy's been on OpTic and he's delivered, what, 2 championships? It's not an exactly impressive return. I know that many would say, you know what, Dashy, in terms of comparing him to Formal, he's got the skill at a similar level to Formal in terms of raw ability, but, you know, the mentality and other aspects haven't quite been there for Dashy as they have been for Formal, and Dashy's had his chances, right? And this is why I think that it's probably expected that he might be gone at this point, because, like, he's had his opportunities, he's had his wake-up calls, he's had, you know, poor performances, he's had poor team results, and this off-season was the big one. He was, like, second MVP of the season behind Cellium, at least in terms of the pure rankings. Many people would even have had him first, because he actually won an event last season at Major 1, and played phenomenally there. Certainly at the start of the season, Dashy was out of control. They were going to drop him anyway, due to external issues, as Rambo described. That seems to me work ethic, out of the game stuff, we've talked about many times before on this channel. And he had his chances to work on that and improve on it, and surely the ultimate wake-up call should have been this off-season where he got dropped and, like, he got brought back, got given the second chance, and still have we really seen that elevated passion? Have we really seen what we expected to see? Probably not. And there's an argument that says, well, if you drop Dashy now, he's going to become that player that OpTic don't want him to be, or they wanted him to be for them, right? And, you know, become super driven and really motivated to get his revenge, go on that revenge tour. But, you know, still, like, given his history the last couple of years, is there really really any evidence that he's going to do that, right? Maybe not. And you can understand that OpTic can't just, you know, hold on forever to the hope that Dashy's going to become this motivated individual for them. They gave him his chances. He failed to deliver. And it's understandable they're going to move on, even though, you know, Dashy could be an absolute force on another team that he joins if he gets his mindset in the right place. And this might be the key to unlocking that potential. Now, where does he go? So LAG with iLLeY is a weird possibility. It's certainly a viable possibility if they want to get rid of Assault or put him back to the academy or whatever. There's another couple of possibilities. Seattle is a little bit of an outside one, just because if they are getting the change to happen for Pred, then maybe they think, you know what, we need to replace some of the talent here. Let's bring in Dashy instead. Another weird one just to talk about is Rokkr, because they underperformed at Major 1. I'd expect them to run it back with this team a bit longer, but we know that Rokkr are willing to make some serious moves, and you know, they're not just going to rest on their laurels and say, you know what, our team's fine. Afro's playing out of his mind. Cammy wasn't particularly impressive. Maybe there's a world in which they say, you know what, Dashy come in, let's say we put Attach back to the flex in that position, and then Dashy as the main AR. Maybe that's a possibility. So that's a bit of an outside one, but there's not many other teams that I would really think about making changes. But as I say, the rumor has it as it stands that there's 5 teams making moves. We know London are. We know that, of course, you know, Seattle, Surge, Los Angeles, Guerrillas, and OpTic probably are with the Pred thing happening. But what's going to happen to this mystery 5th team, if there is indeed a mystery 5th team actually changing? So, you know, just to note as well here on this stuff about Wardy, because, you know, CDL Scrim Intel reckons the Wardy stuff isn't really happening, and maybe a Seam is going to go there instead. That says to me that London are kind of getting screwed over here a bit, right? Because, you know, they haven't had the greatest start to the season, and more than likely won't be having a particularly great roster mania as well if they lose a Seam as well. Arguably, well, definitely, I think their best performing player so far this season. So that is one of the talking points. The other question to me is, can OpTic actually get this Pred deal done? Because as it stands, there's no guarantees that all of this stuff actually goes through. I believe that Benjay Nassim mentioned in the video that from a negotiation standpoint, OpTic are in a decent position up against Seattle Surge, just because Pred, at the end of the day, like, his contract is up at the end of the season. Presumably he wants to go to OpTic, but there's, I think basically what Ben said was that OpTic want Pred. There's no doubt about it. They want him to come in, but Seattle don't necessarily want to get rid of Pred, understandably. So these rumors have come out from the fact that OpTic want Pred, not necessarily that the teams are happy to agree to an arrangement there. The Arcitys thing seems likely as it stands. The Pred thing seems maybe slightly less so as it is, just because who knows if Seattle will agree. Now, as I say, Seattle don't have that strong of a negotiating position because Pred is anyway a free agent at the end of the season. So regardless of what they do now, he's going to probably go to OpTic at the end of the year anyway, so they can't charge that much for Pred in terms of a buyout, you would imagine, but it's still going to be well into the 6 figures, I would think, and whether OpTic can send anyone the other way, I don't know if that's really the case. But then on top of that, Seattle do have the advantage of knowing that OpTic are in, you know, it's Scump's final year. They will give their absolute all to make sure that he's got the best possible chance, and OpTic will be, you know, OpTic aren't just going to sit there and be like, oh, you know, Pred, you want a bit too much trim, let's just not do that deal, because Scump's going to be sitting there saying, hey, this is the roster I want, like, we should have done this before, but whatever, we're going to do it now, pay the money, pay the buyouts, let's make it happen for one final year. So Seattle do have that advantage in terms of getting the most they can for Pred, but you know, still, it's obviously not ideal for Seattle fans either, losing their star player just one event into the season. So that's kind of all we know for now. Just a note before we close out the video as well here from Tommy. You guys might know Tommy, 100 Thieves Tommy, maybe not 100 Thieves Tommy anymore actually, but him and Rated for a couple of years were doing the Warzone thing, legendary European Call of Duty professional players anyway before that, and looks like Tommy wants to return. He says, you know, with CDL teams right now, lots of changes, get me back in, get me either in a pro team, get me on a substitute position, get me on a challengers team, I don't know. Pretty exciting stuff, I thought, if Tommy does try and make the return, because I think the last he was involved in the league was on the bench for the Dallas Empire. I believe he was even kind of like almost coaching the team at the start of the Cold War season before they got Rambo out there as well. But very much interested to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, take care, and I'll see you next time.